My name is Ankush Agarwal. I'm a principal at Exelon. I manage the data analytics group within internal audit and financial controls. My key responsibilities are basically to build and deploy analytics to support internal audit and financial controls. So there's currently a big data revolution going on. People talk about big data all the time. And as part of that revolution, what has really transformed is the way technology is now available to everybody. We have seen a big change where technology in terms of how we import data, how we store data, how we analyze data has become much easier. It's become more creative. Things have changed. And not only that, it's become cheaper to get it. So the technology costs and availability for bringing the technology in has changed. So with all that happening, the barriers to enter analytics for an audit shop has changed. So it's become very easy to do that. From our perspective, the way we see it is, at this point, auditors now have that unique point of view where they are probably the only people who are looking across the organization, and with that kind of access to that point of view to be able to provide risk assurance across the organization, we find that now is the right time, if you haven't started yet, to really get into the analytics game. It's become so cheap, it's become so much transformative. And so things, simple things like, previously you heard people using a lot of spreadsheets. That's changed. You no longer have to have single points of view of analysis driving off a spreadsheet. You can, with a relatively small amount of work, you can now do analytics using visualizations. So you can really drive themes of analysis on the fly. And so what this has done is, if you think about the planning phase of an audit, no longer do you have to kind of deliver a spreadsheet with just, here's what we think about the business. As the auditor learns more about the business, you can really ask new questions and answer them on the fly. So, at Exelon, we just completed a nuclear corrective action review, which is based on, tracking issues. And so we didn't know much about it. But with the ease of technology these days, we were able to hook on to the nuclear action database and build a visual where the auditors could really play around with the data and ask the questions to the data. And so they were able to, if they had a question about which of the different categories of risk associated with the action plans, they could ask that question to the platform. And that's become very easy. No longer do they need to know how to operate something. The front end for analytics has become so much easier. So it's a really great tool for planning. The other thing is, if you think about continuous monitoring, previously you heard people doing a lot of spreadsheets. So you would hear people talk about analytics where they are developing multiple spreadsheets which are reviewed by people. What's now changed is you can now build continuous monitoring projects where, for an executive, you can develop a dashboard which is talking at the high level. So you talk about the key risks, and then with the available technology and the changes in in-memory analytics and visual analytics, you can now drill down through that executive dashboard and get to the transaction level. So it really changes the game in terms of how you want to manage the business. At Exelon, we went ahead and did a T&E project, travel and entertainment, where we're in the process of monitoring key risks. So we've got compliance risk, fraud risks, and the other risks, and we are showing our high-level numbers every month to the executive. So we're saying, we have analyzed $100 million of records, and we think there's risk associated with only $1 million. So that clearly shows how risk is being kind of seen from the executive's point of view. But then from an auditor's point of view, you can directly drill down into each risk, and you can clearly see which employee is doing what transaction, and that's all available now, and it's easy to do. Previously, that might have taken months and months of work. Now it's relatively easy to do. We do the same thing for journal entries. We have built about 18 indicators which tell us about the different risks associated with the journal transaction, and we can clearly start identifying accounts, preparers, and reviewers who are doing the most high-risk transactions. So we had all these, we could do this before, but I think with the ability to be able to visualize this information, you can tell your story much better, and that really adds value in terms of how you want to show how the internal audit organization can easily manage and provide assurance over a big area without having to deploy 100 Excel sheets and really kind of provide that one-time point of view of how the area is doing.